Emeka stared at himself in the cracked mirror, barely recognizing the man looking back. His once smooth skin was smeared with fake scars, and his neat beard was gone. Instead of his stylish suits, he wore tattered, dusty clothes. He took a deep breath. Could he really do this? No one in the village of Umons knew him, and that was the plan. He wasn't Emeka, the wealthy businessman from Nui, anymore. He is now Ikin, a poor, struggling trader trying to start over. Emeka had grown tired of the life he left behind. Women only saw his money and flashy compound, not his heart. Every relationship felt fake. So, he made a bold choice: hide his wealth, disguise himself, and find someone who could love him for who he truly was. As he stepped out of the small hut he rented, Emeka blended into the crowd. His transformation was complete. No one would guess he was one of the richest men in the region. But as he walked through the bustling market, one question haunted him: what if no one sees past the scars and rags? Little did he know, this journey would change his life forever. Emeka arrived in Umons late in the evening, carrying a small, worn-out bag. The village was alive with the sound of chatter and the soft glow of kerosene lamps. His stomach growled, but he couldn't afford to spend much of the little money he had. He approached a smoky food stall run by an elderly woman. She gave him a quick glance, her eyes lingering on his scars before offering a hesitant smile. "What do you want to eat, my son?" "Just a little yam and palm oil, Mama," Emeka replied softly. As he ate, he listened to the villagers talk about bad harvests, sick relatives, and struggles to find good suitors. For the first time, he felt like he was blending in. But when he paid for his food, the woman leaned closer. "Where are you from?" she asked, studying him closely. "I came from far away," Emeka said, lowering his eyes. "Too much pain to stay in my village." The woman nodded, her face softening. "Life is hard everywhere, but Umons has good people if you're willing to work." Emeka thanked her and left, feeling the weight of his journey. Could a man pretending to be broken really find someone who could heal him? The next morning, Emeka woke to the sound of roosters and women fetching water from the stream. His back ached from sleeping on the bare ground, but he pushed through. In the village center, he saw a young man struggling with a heavy bundle of firewood. Emeka limped over and offered to help. "Thank you," the man said, wiping sweat from his brow. "You must be new here." "Yes," Emeka said. "I'm Ikin. I'm looking for work." The man introduced himself as Chuka, a farmer known for his kind heart. "If you're not afraid of hard work, you can help me on my farm. I can't pay much, but it's honest labor." "Anything is fine," Emeka said gratefully. Chuka became Emeka's first friend in Umons, guiding him through the village and sharing stories about the people. By the end of the day, Emeka felt a connection. Days later, Chuka took Emeka to the lively village market to sell vegetables. Among the noise and color, Emeka's eyes caught a young woman with a basket of fruits. She laughed easily, teasing a customer about his bargaining skills. "That's Ediora," Chuka whispered. "Mama Ijim's daughter. She's smart, but most men say her sharp tongue scares them." Emeka couldn't stop watching her. She seemed so different, confident and full of life. Throughout the day, their eyes met several times, and when she finally smiled at him, Emeka quickly looked away, feeling his heart race. "You like her, don't you?" Chuka teased later. "She's interesting," Emeka said, trying to sound casual. But deep down, he wondered, could someone like her ever love a man like me? As Emeka and Ediora grew closer, their brief conversations became the highlight of his days. But trouble was brewing. One afternoon, an elderly man approached Emeka and Chuka while they worked on the farm. It was Papa Namdi, the village storyteller. He pointed his cane at Emeka. "You carry a heavy secret, my son. Be careful. The truth can set you free, or destroy you." Chuka laughed it off. "Don't mind him. He's always saying strange things." But Emeka couldn't shake the old man's words. Was his secret already starting to show? As Emeka and Eudora grew closer, whispers spread around the village. Not everyone was happy about it, especially Obinna, a wealthy palm wine tapper who had been chasing Eudora for months. One day, Obinna confronted her in the market. "Why waste time with that scared nobody when you could have me?" Eudora's response was sharp and quick. "Respect yourself, Obinna. Friendship isn't a competition." Emeka, standing nearby, felt both pride and fear. Eudora's words touched him, but he knew Obinna wasn't the type to back down. As he walked home that night, Emeka glanced over his shoulder, feeling the weight of unseen eyes. Emeka felt a growing connection to Eudora. They spent hours by the stream, sharing their dreams and worries. Each conversation deepened his feelings for her. One afternoon, as they sat under the shade of a tree, Eudora asked, "Why did you come to Umons, Ikin?" Her question surprised him. He hesitated before answering, "I needed a fresh start." Eudora smiled warmly. "I'm glad you did." Her words comforted him, but a heavy question lingered in his mind: how much longer could he hide the truth? The next day, a commotion erupted in the village square. The elders called for volunteers to repair the bridge connecting Umons to the neighboring village. Chuka nudged Emeka. "It's tough work. Can you handle it?" Emeka nodded. "It's the least I can do to repay this village." At the bridge site, Emeka joined other men, including Obinna, who greeted him with mocking sneers. "Careful, Scarface," Obinna said as Emeka struggled with a heavy log. Emeka ignored him, focusing on his work. By the end of the day, he earned the respect of the villagers. Even Obinna begrudgingly stayed silent. But as they rested under a tree, another man whispered to Emeka, "Watch out for Obinna. He's dangerous when he's angry." Emeka nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. Each day in Umons brought new challenges, and he couldn't shake the feeling that the hardest one was still ahead. That evening, as Emeka washed up by the stream, Eudora appeared beside him. "You work harder than most," she said with a soft smile. Emeka shrugged. "It's just work. Everyone has to do their part." Eudora hesitated, then said, "I heard what Obinna said today. Don't listen to him. I don't judge people by how they look." Her words stunned Emeka. He had spent so long hiding behind his mask that he never imagined someone seeing past it. "Thank you," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Eudora leaned closer. "I don't know your story, Ikin. But I feel like there's more to you than you let on. You can trust me." Emeka's heart raced. Could he trust her? Or was it too soon? As Emeka grew closer to Eudora, Obinna's jealousy boiled over. He started spreading rumors, claiming Emeka was a fugitive who fled his village to escape punishment. The gossip spread quickly, and even Chuka confronted him. "Ikin, tell me the truth. Are these rumors true?" "No," Emeka said firmly. "I left my village, but not for what Obinna claims." Chuka studied him for a moment, then nodded. "I believe you. But be careful. Obinna won't stop until he ruins you." The whispers hurt, but Emeka stayed strong. He reminded himself that Eudora believed in him. That was all he needed. The New Yam Festival arrived, and the entire village buzzed with excitement. Emeka and Chuka worked hard harvesting yams, while Eudora and her mother prepared dishes for the feast. When the festival began, the square filled with music, laughter, and dancing. Emeka couldn't take his eyes off Eudora, who looked radiant in her traditional attire. "Go talk to her," Chuka teased, nudging him. Emeka approached her nervously. "You look beautiful, Eudora." She blushed. "Thank you, Ikin. You're not too bad yourself." As they danced around the fire, the villagers noticed their chemistry. Obinna, watching from the sidelines, clenched his fists. His jealousy had reached its breaking point. After the festival, Obinna cornered Emeka. "You think you can steal her from me?" he snarled. "She's free to choose who she wants," Emeka replied calmly. Obinna's rage exploded, and he lunged at Emeka. The two men grappled as villagers rushed to pull them apart. The fight left everyone asking, who was Emeka, really? Stop this madness. Eudora shouted, stepping between Emeka and Obinna. Obinna, leave him alone. Your jealousy is shameful. Obinna glared at her, humiliation burning in his eyes, before backing off. His look promised revenge. As the crowd dispersed, Eudora turned to Emeka. Are you okay? I'm fine, he said, though his heart felt heavy. He came to Umon seeking peace, but trouble seemed to follow him everywhere. Yet, as Eudora placed a comforting hand on his arm, he realized she was worth any fight. In the days after the festival, the village buzzed with whispers about the fight. Obinna kept his distance, but his presence loomed like a storm cloud. Some villagers questioned why Eudora preferred Emeka over Obinna, who was wealthier and more influential. Chuka tried to cheer Emeka up. Let them talk, he said with a grin. Eudora believes in you, and that's what matters. But Emeka wasn't so sure. Judgmental stares followed him everywhere, and the weight of his secret became unbearable. One evening, Emeka sat by the stream to clear his mind. Eudora joined him quietly. Don't let them get to you, she said softly. Emeka looked at her, his voice heavy with doubt. What if they are right? What if I don't belong here? Eudora frowned. Ikin, you've done nothing wrong. People judge what they don't understand. I see who you really are, and I don't care about the rest. Her words lifted him, but fear crept in. How much longer could he hide the truth from her? Late one night, Obinna and two friends snuck onto Chuka's farm with machetes. They slashed through the crops, destroying weeks of hard work. The next morning, Chuka was heartbroken. Who would do this? He asked, staring at the ruined fields. Emeka knew the answer but said nothing. Confronting Obinna would only make things worse. Instead, he rolled up his sleeves and began helping Chuka replant. The villagers whispered about the sabotage, with many suspecting Obinna. In the market, Eudora confronted him. You've gone too far, Obinna, she said angrily. This isn't how a man behaves. Obinna smirked. Be careful, Eudora. You don't know who you're defending. Eudora refused to back down. I know enough to see that Ikin is a better man than you'll ever be. The village elders called a meeting to address the rising tension. Emeka, Obinna, Eudora, and Chuka sat under the large Iroko tree as Papa Okeke spoke. This village is a place of peace. We won't tolerate any more fighting or destruction, he said sternly. Obinna feigned innocence. I've done nothing wrong. The stranger is the one causing trouble. Emeka stayed silent, fist clenched. Eudora, however, stood her ground. This isn't about Ikin. It's about jealousy and pride. Obinna has been bullying him since he arrived. The elders listened carefully but made no decision, warning both men to behave. Emeka left the meeting knowing his troubles were far from over. Days later, Eudora discovered that her mother's cherished bracelet was missing. The loss devastated Mama Ejim, and rumors spread quickly. Fingers began pointing at Emeka. He's an outsider, someone whispered. Who knows what kind of man he is? Emeka denied the accusations, but even Chuka looked doubtful. Eudora defended him fiercely. Ikin didn't take it, she said. I know him. Her loyalty caused more whispers, with some accusing her of being blinded by love. Obinna saw his chance and publicly accused Emeka. Admit it, Scarface. You're nothing but a thief. Before Emeka could respond, Papa Namdi intervened. Enough, he commanded. The truth will come out. Until then, leave this boy alone. Emeka confronted Iz, a young villager rumored to know something about the bracelet. Iz admitted to finding it near Mama Ejim's house but confessed he sold it to a passing trader. When Emeka shared this with Eudora and Chuka, Eudora looked devastated. Mama will be heartbroken, she said. Chuka suggested they explain everything to the elders. Once they know the truth, they'll clear your name. At the next gathering, Emeka stood before the elders and the village. He took the bracelet, he said. He sold it, not knowing how important it was. He admitted his guilt, and the elders cleared Emeka's name. Papa Okeke reminded the villagers, quick judgment divides us. Let this be a lesson. Humiliated, Obinna vowed revenge. Late one night, he and his friends met in secret. This time, we'll hit him where it hurts, Obinna said. We'll make sure he regrets ever coming to humans. The next morning, Chuka warned Emeka. Obinna is planning something. Be careful. Emeka nodded but felt the strain of constant conflict. I can't run, Chuka. If I back down now, I lose everything. That night, flames engulfed part of the village market, destroying stores and goods. Villagers rushed to douse the fire, but the damage was done. The next morning, whispers spread. It was deliberate, someone said. Maybe it's that stranger, Iking. Ever since he came, there's been trouble. When Chuka told Emeka about the accusations, he was horrified. I had nothing to do with this, he said. I know, Chuka replied. But proving it won't be easy. People are scared, and they need someone to blame.